Good afternoon. We have with us Professor Dr. Padma Shri GD Yadav, former Vice Chancellor ICT Bombay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, you have conceptualized century of chemistry in India. What was the reason for organizing this two-day conference in Bombay?
Very good afternoon to all of you. You know, the Indian Chemical Society, which was established on May 9th, 1924, has completed 100 years. And this is a big event. In fact, you know that the title of this particular conference, we said Chemistry at 100. So people will be wondering, was chemistry not done before? No, chemistry was done before, but the chemistry became a very nice science for all, science graduates after the establishment of this Indian Chemical Society. And who were involved in that? You know, J.N. Mukherjee, S.S. Bhatnagar, J.C. Ghosh, and all they were biggies of that time. And Acharya P.C. Ray, was such a figure. He was not only a very powerful professor, but also he had this so-called startup company, which we call these days Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals. So he was a professor and also he started a company, and he also established the so-called Indian Chemical Manufacturers Association, which is now called Indian Chemical Council, in 1938. So he had a lot of influence on the chemistry and chemical industry per se in India. Therefore, we chose this theme of Indian chemistry at 100. And we decided that we should have various conferences. Our annual conference, which we call Annual Chemistry Convention of Chemists, all this should be having a theme, that is the net zero goal and sustainability, and role of chemical sciences in green energy, circular economy, and prosperity of India. So this is the title which we will be using. So we also decided that this particular theme we should run across, and we should not be just having the so-called 1 year, but we started it on 9th of May 2023, and we'll extend it till the end of this year so that people become aware of this. So that was our original idea. And why Mumbai? In Mumbai, we had decided to have this conference on November 6th and 7th. However, because of the impending elections in Maharashtra, we were advised to postpone it. And therefore, we postponed it to this 28th and 29th of January 2025.
As you rightly said, the theme is 100 years of chemistry. So if you can explain why you have chosen these themes and what are the sub themes that you will have in this conference.
Okay, I tell you what we are doing in this. We have actually, I tell you, one of the reasons for chemistry to prosper or chemical industry to prosper, many people do not have the idea about chemical industry. They think it is a polluting industry, but that is not the case. Chemistry is life and life is chemistry. And therefore, we wanted to bring all sectors of economy, particularly related to chemicals and allied industries. For example, right from refineries, inorganic chemicals, organic chemicals, dyestuffs, perfumes, flavors, polymers, pigments, dyes, materials, biochemicals, pharmaceuticals, drugs, and also other related e-chemicals and all that. And of course, because we are talking about net zero in these, we wanted to have all these themes taken together and be presented. At the same time, annually, we give some awards. And some of these awards will also be presented, so Lifetime Achievement Awards. And we have created, during this particular year, I was very happy to create some awards with the help of, my friends in industry. So I will tell you what we did. So Clean Science and Technology, Bharat Ratna Professor C.N.R. Rao, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award. Pidilite Industries Padma Vibhushan, Professor M. Sharma, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award. Oriental Aromatics, Dr. Sukhdev, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award. Incidentally, Dr. Sukhdev completed 100 years. He passed away very recently. Ether Industries, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Arya Mashalkar, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award. Dr. A.V. Ramarao, a very famous chemist and chemical technologist, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award for Innovation in Industrial Research. Then Ellen Mathur, Asima Chatterjee, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award for Women Scientists. Color Publications, R.V. Raghavan, ICS Centennial Jubilee Award for Creativity by PhD students in colleges, particularly affiliated colleges and autonomous colleges. These will be 10 awards. Chemical Weekly's annual awards for PhD students, 100 awards, 1,000 rupees each, 50 for girls and 50 for boys. Then not only that, I myself gave my own money, and we established Professor G.D. Yadav and Dr. Mohasanti Yadav Award for Excellence in Research by PhD students. There will be 2 awards, one for a boy and one for a girl. Make Money Organics Best ICS Branch Award. Professor Animesh Chakravarti Young Scientist Award for Inorganic Chemistry. This money was given by Professor C.R. Sinha, former Honorary Secretary. Then Professor R.S. Verma Memorial Award. This was also given by, Professor. This money was given by Professor Ranjit Verma, who was also Vice President before. And so you can imagine this I started during these 100 years of program. And at the same time, we have 17 other awards. All these awards required buttressing. And so, so I thought, if the chemical industry has to survive, we must look at heroes of chemical industry. And who are the heroes during last 100 years? And I must tell you that I had long discussions with Professor M. Sharma, who had known some of these heroes. And so I said, why not honor these heroes? So, for example, Acharya P.C. Ray. So we said, why we not call him Mahamaharshi? Okay. Then this is one hero. Then, like others, J.R.D. Tata, Ratan Tata, Dr. B.P. Godrej, Dhirubhai Ambani, then Dr. K.K. Garda, and many others of that kind, of Lala Shriram. So we thought so we have heroes who are no more, and there are also current here, like heroes like Mukesh Ambani is there, or Kumar Mangalam Birla is there. So Aditya Birla is our hero of the past. So I collected information about them, whatever we could get. We have profiles in that. So we decided to have this copy table book. And in that copy table book, the companies which gave information, I included in that. I wrote the editorial. And a very nice article is written by Professor M. Sharma, tracing the history of 100 years of chemical industry in India. So that will be a collector's item. So this book contains everything. But at the same time, I must also tell you that some of the information I could not get. I wanted to include it. So I wished that I get that information. We'll publish another book. There will be a sequel. We will organize another conference where because unless people see what we have done, because there are sponsors for this. And so we are honoring quite a few people, maybe perhaps 100, because it's a 100 years celebration. So we may have about 100 of these industrialists coming, and we will, we will honor them. Okay, we'll honor them. We'll felicitate them. And so that is very interesting. And the person, our chief guest is the West Bengal governor, Dr. C.V. Ananda Bose. So he's very kind to accept and come. Others, like our chief minister, Maharashtra chief minister, Devendraji Fadnavis, or our chief, patron, Nitinji Gadkari, they have sent their messages because they have another engagement in Nagpur for some, I think some college celebrating 100 years. So, law college, I guess. So this is what is a program, and we will have lot of activity, and we are giving chance to young industrialists to make presentations. What they think 100 years, it's say 2047, when we are talking about Vikasit Bharat, will they be, predict what they are going to do? Of course, some of these companies, which are listed companies, they cannot say that because it will affect their stock value. So they will not say, but what they are doing, they can say. So we'll have a lot of fun. And we have also got researchers. There will be poster presentations. There are students who want to come. So in and around Mumbai, I have said you can come and present. And if they cannot afford, I will give them free registration. But I want them to come and see what is going to happen.
So what's the total number of gathering that you?
I think we expect more than 500. This is in Nehru Center, Worli. So we have a lot of hope that, and I see a lot of people are still submitting abstract. I said, come, because our idea is to promote chemistry and chemical sciences, engineering, and technology. And one of the reasons why I'm doing it is that this year, the enrollment in chemistry, or for that matter, in chemical engineering and technology, has gone down across the country. And that's not a good sign. So people are, everybody, and I will blame the parents, everybody wants their kids to be AI, ML, all sorts of things, or computer science and engineering. They forget that materials are required for all these industries. And unless we grow at something like 24-25% in manufacturing sector and 70% in service sector, we will have no future. We are talking about some $30 trillion economy by 2047, when India's population will be 1.67 billion. So we are aspiring to be a fully developed nation. Maybe our economy may be second or third. Okay, we will not be below that. And so we need all sorts of professionals, all sorts of things must be encouraged. And this is where the importance of this particular, conference lies. And I'm hopeful because I've been in this business for so many years as a professor, consultant to industry, and having led very important associations. Like I was the president of Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers in 2001, and created 39, endowment awards. I got money. Total awards were 52. Now also, these many awards we have created. In the first set of awards which we gave on 9th May 2023, they were 1 lakh rupees each. Now these companies have given me money. So we have invested, and only 50% of that of the interest which is accrued will be used towards the award. So whatever interest we get, suitable award will be given, particularly these awards which I mentioned. There are others earlier awards, but there is no money. It is only the honor for those awards.
Sir, how do you see India's contribution in the last 100 years with respect to chemistry?
India initially started with these inorganic chemicals, no? And there's this National Rayon and all those companies we started. So, the Birla Group, the Tata Group, Lala Shriram, and all those people who contributed. So India has a very glorious history as far as chemical industry is concerned. Okay. We started with, all these bulk inorganic chemicals, and inorganic chemicals are, cheap, whether it is soda ash or sulfuric acid or nitric acid and all those things, ammonia and all. So what I'm trying to tell you, India has done well, but we should have done much more. For example, production of fertilizers or methanol, importing them from abroad was a big mistake India has done. I can tell you that. And in the so-called net zero, we want to convert carbon dioxide into chemicals, fuels, and materials. So according to me, carbon dioxide is a new refinery. So carbon dioxide the carbon has to be valorized. Okay. So the net zero, it is not net zero. I believe it is net negative technologies which are required for achieving that goal. And we are talking, India is saying about 2070 as the goal, but I think we should plan for much before that, like rest of the world. They are saying 2050, China says 2060. So why not? Because the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, just before the pandemic, it was 410 ppm in January 2020. January 2021, it was 412 ppm. In May 2022, 418. And now it is 427. So we have added a lot of carbon in the atmosphere, and therefore, we have to worry about the so-called climate change. So this is where I want to bring to the fore how, chemistry will help, how chemical industry will help in containing climate change, giving us cheap energy, renewable energy, and at the same time, the circular economy. Nothing is waste. We have to look at it as the, feedstock for making something different and new. So now it is, people normally used to talk about 3 hours. Now I'm saying it is 5 hours. First thing is refuse, then repurpose, and all those recycle, reuse, and reduce. Those become 5 hours. So we want to, tell the world that as an organization, because Indian Chemical Society is one of the oldest in the country, very powerful people have been members of these fellows. For example, we have 8 Nobel laureates are honorary fellows. Quite a few Padma awardees are our fellows. And we want to go to, so if you ask me what we want to plan. So not only these grand functions in various cities across the country, we are changing the constitution. Every state will have a branch of Indian Chemical Society. We, like I told you, we will felicitate the achievers. We will felicitate our role models and others. Then we will have industry endowed awards. We will have global fellowships, appointing 5 fellows from each of the leading countries. And when we have to also create corpuses for publications. And of course, the important part I must tell you is that our journal, the Journal of Indian Chemical Society, is now published by Elsevier. So in 2021, I signed an agreement with Elsevier. That time, our impact factor was 0.26. Now it is 3.2. It is the highest among all Indian journals. And it is, it is not open access. It is subscription mode. And this is another coincidence, I must tell you that this year, that Acharya P.C. Ray was the founding president and also editor-in-chief of the Journal of Indian Chemical Society. Exactly 100 years later, I am the president and also editor-in-chief. And what is interesting, that recently I was conferred this Bhatnagar Fellowship. Dr. S.S. Bhatnagar was a founding member of this society. So it is all coincident, and I feel I'm singularly a lucky person. We will have at least 100 college chapters. We'll increase the industry fellowships, because there are a lot of many good chemists in industry, our chemical engineers. We'd like to have chapters in all IITs and ICERs and, centrally funded institutions, universities. Unfortunately, no, this was not done. And my biggest project, I'm telling you, my biggest project is to build a building for the Indian Chemical Society with the help of industry under corporate social responsibility. And maybe it can be built over 3 years. But that is my dream. And that will be about 10 crore rupees. So this is what we want to tell the world, that please come. This will have this society has a great legacy. So many good people have, led this society. So incidentally, the 46th and 47th president is me. That is another interesting aspect of this. So all these, over the years, so many good people have led this society. So I think we'll have a great future. And I'm sure you will participate and enjoy and interview some of the heroes of our profession.
Now, sir, I'm talking about the next 100 years. What are the 10 things that India should take up in a big way and leave a mark for the global chemical society?
Yeah, very good question. India should be a leader in energy, renewable energy, okay? So, and export to the world, because all industries require renewable energy. So whether, we have planned, India has planned that by 2030, 45% of the carbon dioxide will be reduced, and we will have about 500 gigawatt. My belief is that we should produce more than that. The the prediction is that by 2050, the world as a whole will require 49,000 terawatt hours of energy. And I believe that India should produce 20% of this. India should be an energy exporting nation. So India should have a lot of incentive for industries. Unfortunately, in our country, the commoners do not know the value of chemical industry. So if we have incentive for industries, we export because everything is chemicals. There is nothing in this, whether it is solar panel or wind panel, whether you have composites or all these industries require. So the PLI scheme should be extended to these industries. Okay. So we will have, once you have carbon dioxide, so since we are talking about carbon negative, none of our energy sources should be from carbon-based fuel. Okay, so the fuel mix will be all renewable, whether it is solar, wind, geothermal, nuclear, hydro or tidal. So that is another thing. So if you want to have, for example, you need energy. So if you want to have solar energy, one of the problems our country faces is that where is the land available? Right? We want to go for it. So my advice would be use all these railway tracks because that land is there. On that, you put all these solar panels. That will be the best way because then otherwise to acquire land is many times it is litigious. We know that. So that is one way. Or you have floating solar panels, coastal areas, okay, or big rivers and all that. So that is one way of overcoming this. So green energy will be, that is one. Hydrogen, because hydrogen is required everywhere. So hydrogen-based energy, and I tell you, by 2054, we will not have any crude oil, either because the cost of crude oil becomes excessive, maybe $200 a barrel, or the other technologies, bio-based. We are talking about bio-based economy. So biological means, that is whether it is trees, purposely grown grasses, waste carbon, all those things will be feedstock. Incidentally, what the industry will require feedstock based on biomass, and everywhere now it is natural. They say that you should have bio-based feedstock industry, for example, furan-based chemistry. So we'll have, say, cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin. Now what they are doing, lignin is burned, as a cogeneration. I think that's a bad idea. So what we should do is that we should make use of cellulose, hemicellulose, all these things for making chemicals. And their hydrogen will be very important. So what will be hydrogen? India has planned to have 5 million tons of hydrogen by 2030. I think we should go to about 7 million tons. By 2035, maybe 10 million tons. And the world as a whole in 2050, we will have something like world's requirement will be anywhere between 540 to 830 million metric tons, perhaps more. And where is this hydrogen will be used? The hydrogen will be used in converting biomass into chemicals, fuels, and materials, because that is our source. Okay, hydrogen is required. So if you have cellulose, hemicellulose, the reactions are hydrogenation, hydrogenolysis, oxidation, and all those. And there are some 14 different classical reactions which will use them to make value-added chemicals. So valorization of this biomass. Even in the case of lignin is a very good source for making chemicals. So, and there is where hydrogen and oxygen once be again useful. So that means water splitting. So the so-called green hydrogen, which the entire world is talking about, India should be a leader in this. Okay, and so that is one of the things which is going to happen. So hydrogen economy, hydrogen-based transportation, whether it is two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, shipping industry, all that thing will be there. And conversion of carbon dioxide to methanol, dimethyl ether, or hydrocarbons, LPG, that will be our new kinds of industries and feedstock. Because once you have methanol-based industry automatically is promoted. So, because we will not have this crude oil. In for us, at the same time, I must tell you from chemistry viewpoint, once we have, say, for example, pyrolysis of biomass, you get a lot of these chemicals which contain oxygenated compounds. So if you hydrogenate, it becomes hydrocarbons. Okay. Then that becomes a source for, and then you have dehydrogenation, for instance, then becomes olefins and all. We have source. This will be our new source for chemical and allied industry. Okay, so I think there is a lot of exciting pharmaceutical industry. India will be the lead. Actually, they say India is the pharmacy of the world. A lot of pharmaceutical industry, maybe $500 billion. That industry, pharmaceutical industry, India will be a leader. So but at the same time, we must have manufacturing for API, fertilizer industry. The third interesting part, our crude oil will be there for some time, and refineries use gray hydrogen. That is, they do steam methane reforming of methane or natural gas. And so they produce 1 ton of hydrogen produces 11 tons of methane, carbon dioxide. So that, should be used done by using green hydrogen. So this is how, and India has to reduce the carbon footprint. Today, our carbon footprint annual is 2.622 billion tons, 2.622 billion tons, and we have to make it zero by 2070. You can imagine tremendous, scope is there for Indian industry to invest into this renewable energy sources, make use of hydrogen, oxygen, and generate new types of chemicals. For example, HMF or furan chemistry, many other things. So I personally believe Indian chemical industry will do well. And remember, we had once a seminar, I think you had organized it on ESG. We were talking about what will be India's contribution and whether 2 trillion or 3 trillion. It all depends on the policy. I said government of India's policy should be to encourage our industry to develop our economy, add to our economy. Suppose we become energy exporting, then we will earn a lot of revenue, foreign exchange, and that will offset it. So we must give incentive to industry, because industry, once you have the primary industry, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, and all other industries, they are generated, jobs are generated, created. So I think chemical industry is a critical industry. It's the mother of all industries. And there is not a single man-made product, material, whether it is cloth or anything else, which does not use chemicals. So chemistry is very, very essential. And I think our future will depend on very strong chemical industry. We should be the leaders of green chemistry, green pollution-free technologies. And this is where both chemistry and chemical engineering will come to the fore. That is my personal belief. It's not because I'm a chemical engineer. This is my personal belief based on the analysis of data. And so net zero or sustainable development or climate change or mitigation of all these things, or global peace, prosperity, comfort, everywhere, chemistry, chemical sciences, chemical engineering will play a very, very important role. And I believe this is what we want to showcase in this particular conference. And I'm sure people will like, I also want to tell you something, the kind of the copy table book, because I was working on that with my team, even day before yesterday, I late night, because I wanted to see that whatever information we have got should be put into the
incorporated
book. Yeah, copy table book. But still, there are a lot of companies and individuals who could not get the information. It's not that people did not know. I think some of these guys did not know that the value of this book. And so once they come to know what we have done, I'm sure they will come to me and say, sir, do it again. I'm sure about that.
Chemical vertical contributes 7% of India's GDP. In some countries, chemical vertical contributes 25% of India's GDP. So how do you see this GDP growing?
I tell you, the definition of chemical and allied industry, sometimes because we are different ministries now, we think that, no, I tell you, wherever carbon is there and it is converted into something else, even a lot of chemistry is there in the minerals industry, but we don't call it as chemical industry. So the chemical industry's contribution in Indian construction is not less than 15%. I'm telling you that, not less than 15%. Textiles is all chemical industry.
And how do we take it to, sir, 25%? by the next
No,
10 years?
very good. That means excellent question. Wherever chemicals are used, all sectors it is used, right? Only thing is we have to, have a greener production technologies, and we have to have special zones. Okay, it is not that unless you have special zones and policy, government policy must be such that we want to be the hub of chemical industry. We normally compare ourselves with China. Now, some of the Chinese companies have moved to Vietnam. Okay. But India, see, it is always they should say China plus one. That is what industry people would say that. But now sometimes they say China plus two. They say India and Vietnam. And you know that there are stricter control reach, legislation in European Union. So Indian industry must spend a lot of money on R&D. It cannot be. R&D must be there. R&D, if you spend R&D, then you will be able to do it. And I also say something else, which is related to all higher education sectors, that the CSR contribution should be 3%, not 2%. And the 1% should be spent on research, innovation, technology development, and our higher academic institutions, be them private or government or allied institutions, should develop technology, share that IPR with the funders that do, and use that technology. We should develop this technology and take it to the next level. That means we have to also become a technology marketing nation. Then only then we will be 25%. But our requirement per se, if we are 1.67 billion people, argument say, how much we require, our quantity of chemicals, materials is going to grow up. Another, fallacy which people have, they say you can ban single-use plastic, which is again a very unfortunate thing when people talk about it. No, plastic is not polluting. We are polluting. We are throwing it because it is available free. I'm saying that if the plastic is converted, depolymerized, and converted back into monomers or some other chemical and reused, it is useful. So what we should do, our policy should be having a deposit, refundable deposit. Whether it is a straw or a milk pouch or anything else, all these should be refundable. So then people, not by weight, okay, nobody knows 50 micron. You don't go move with a micrometer. So you have to say that return it. We make use of digital technology and people will return it. Then that becomes your feedstock for developing new types of chemicals, materials. So that will be Swachh Bharat, right? That will be Swachh Bharat. So having a deposit, so that single-use plastic ban, SUP, is not a good idea. I think the bureaucrats have not thought on it. Making people, responsible, having a refundable policy so that everybody returns it. So it does not go into the environment and clog our gutters and whatnot. And it's like a newspaper fellow comes to your home to collect Raddi, the West newspaper. Another person will come and collect your plastic. And interestingly, again, hydrogen becomes very important here because once you have mixed plastic, hydrogenation or hydrogenolysis can handle all these things. You don't have to segregate plastic. Plastic of any kind can be, converted by using hydrogenolysis. So I think India should take a lead, make favorable policy. Ultimately, it depends on the government policy. I must tell you that. I must admit. We have to encourage our people, and our people are very innovative. Indian scientists are very innovative. See, perhaps you know that there are about 180 unicorns in India having $365 billion business. So that means we have to have more unicorns in chemical and R&D sector. That's what I believe. Then we'll have 25% growth, 100%.
Chemical vertical contributes 7% of India's GDP. In some countries, chemical vertical contributes 25% of India's GDP. So how do you see this GDP growing?
I tell you, the definition of chemical and allied industry, sometimes because we are different ministries now, we think that, no, I tell you, wherever carbon is there and it is converted into something else, even a lot of chemistry is there in the minerals industry, but we don't call it as chemical industry. So the chemical industry's contribution in Indian construction is not less than 15%. I'm telling you that, not less than 15%. Textiles is all chemical industry.
And how do we take it to, sir, 25% by the next
No,
10 years?
very good. That means, excellent question. Wherever chemicals are used, all sectors it is used, right? Only thing is we have to, have a greener production technologies. And we have to have special zones. Okay, it is not that unless you have special zones and policy, government policy must be such that we want to be the hub of chemical industry. We normally compare ourselves with China. Now, some of the Chinese companies have moved to Vietnam. Okay. But India, see, it is always they should say China plus one. That is what, industry people would say that. But now sometimes they say China plus two. They say India and Vietnam. And you know that there are stricter control reach, legislation in European Union. So Indian industry must spend a lot of money on R&D. It cannot be. R&D must be there. R&D, if you spend R&D, then you will be able to do it. And I also say something else, which is related to all higher education sectors, that the CSR contribution should be 3%, not 2%. And the 1% should be spent on research, innovation, technology development, and our higher academic institutions, be them private or government or allied institutions, should develop technology, share that IPR with the funders that do, and use that technology. We should develop this technology and take it to the next level. That means we have to also, become a technology marketing nation. Only then we will be 25%. But our requirement per se, if we are 1.67 billion people, argument say, how much we require, our quantity of chemicals, materials is going to grow up. Another, fallacy which people have, they say you can ban single-use plastic, which is again a very unfortunate thing when people talk about it. No, plastic is not polluting. We are polluting. We are throwing it because it is available free. I'm saying that if the plastic is converted, depolymerized, and converted back into monomers or some other chemical and reused, it is useful. So what we should do, our policy should be having a deposit, refundable deposit. Whether it is a straw or a milk pouch or anything else, all these should be refundable. So then people, not by weight, okay, nobody knows 50 micron. You don't go move with a micrometer. So you have to say that return it. We'll make use of digital technology and people will return it. Then that becomes your feedstock for developing new types of chemicals, materials. So that will be Swachh Bharat, right? That will be Swachh Bharat. So having a deposit, so that single-use plastic ban, SUP, is not a good idea. I think the bureaucrats have not thought on it. Making people, responsible, having a refundable policy so that everybody returns it. So it does not go into the environment and clog our gutters and whatnot. And it's like a newspaper fellow comes to your home to collect Raddi, the West newspaper. Another person will come and collect your plastic. And interestingly, again, hydrogen becomes very important here because once you have mixed plastic, hydrogenation or hydrogenolysis can handle all these things. You don't have to segregate plastic. Plastic of any kind can be, converted by using hydrogenolysis. So I think India should take a lead, make favorable policy. Ultimately, it depends on the government policy. I must tell you that. I must admit. We have to encourage our people, and our people are very innovative. Indian scientists are very innovative. See, perhaps you know that there are about 180 unicorns in India having $365 billion business. So that means we have to have more unicorns in chemical and R&D sector. That's what I believe. Then we'll have 25% growth, 100%.